Welcome, mamas, to another episode of Confessions of a Small Biz Mama, where we peel back the layers. Sometimes we talk about some uncomfortable things having to do with being a mom and being a business owner and just trying to survive everyday life the best way possible. My name's Kristen Ingram. I am a certified public accountant. I am a tax person and a bookkeeper, and I'm the founder of Bookkeeper Training School. We come out with new episodes every week to help you just try to thrive through it all. Because I don't think survival is enough. I want you to thrive. And so this month, we are talking all about spring cleaning, but we're not talking about cleaning your floors and wiping down your walls. We're talking about areas of your life that we need to take a look at, now that spring is coming, and saying how we can improve those areas of life. So come along with me. If you didn't listen to last week's episode, last week we talked about spring cleaning your social media. Go back and check out that episode. This week, we're going to talk about spring cleaning your life. Now, listen, for a lot of you, this might be hard, okay? This might be something where distraction really rears its head. Do you know that really distraction is just our brains trying to protect us from pain, whether it's physical pain or whether it's emotional pain, or whether it's just, uncomfortableness. That's why a lot of times, when you try to do something that's outside your comfort zone, your brain distracts you because it's just trying to help you not be uncomfortable. Okay. And I'll tell you, this is probably going to be a little bit uncomfortable. So you might want to put your phone in the other room. You might want to, sit down with a journal or a notepad and just give yourself some time to think. Okay. I'm going to pose 2 questions for you today that I want you to think about as you go through this process. Okay. And this is just the beginning of a little bit deeper investigation that you're going to want to do. It's funny because I posted in our group, the Small Biz Mama community on Facebook. I posted, we're going to talk about spring cleaning all this month. What do you need help with? And there were so many people that responded that they didn't even know where to start. That it just seemed like it was all overwhelming and it was all too much. And so I think these 2 questions may help you with that part. Okay. If that's where you are right now, listen, I know we all have a lot on our plates. It was funny because my husband just came in here, right? Those of you that are in Bookkeeper Training School, Jeff. Jeff comes in here and he's like, hey, we kind of need a podcast episode for next week. Are you going to be able to do that? And I'm like, oh, there's so many things. There's so many things. But I'm like, no, you know what? This is important. I want to get this done. And so I cleared, the time to do it. And it's probably going to be one of my shorter episodes, but it's really important for me to get this out for you. Okay. So the first 2 questions, okay? The first question that I want you to look at is, what do you want in your life right now? Okay, what do you want in your life right now? And there's different ways you can think about this. You can think about this, from the different areas of your life, the different facets, things like your health, your career, your business, in the realm of parenting, in the realm of relationships, whether that's with your spouse or your partner, or whether that's with your family and your friends, in your spiritual life. What do you want in your life right now? Okay. You can also look at, how do you want your life to look right now? But I'd love for you to sit down and just journal about this for, 15 minutes, and don't put any restrictions on yourself. Just say, okay, what do I want my life to look like? And see what comes up. See what comes out. And, for some of you, it may be that you want to be happier. It may be you want to be less busy. It might be that you want to be like physically be somewhere else, right? What does that look like for you? So I'll tell you, very recently, we were, this story like blows my mind. So on Valentine's Day, Jeff flooded our bathroom and it went downstairs into our kitchen. And we now have this huge hole in the ceiling in our kitchen. And so that kind of started a discussion between Jeff and I saying, okay, are we just going to fix the ceiling? Are we going to bring somebody in and like redo the whole kitchen? Because the kitchen needs to be redone. What are we going to do? And so we said, all right, well, what if we contacted a realtor, because we know we want to sell the house at some point. So what if we contacted a realtor and say, hey, listen, what should we do? Should we just fix the ceiling? Should we redo the kitchen? Like what's going to make the house sellable? And so we contacted a couple realtors and they were all like, you don't need to do anything, like fix the ceiling. But you don't have to do anything to your house. The market is so hot right now. And this is what we think you can get for your house, which I just about fell over when they told me how much they thought we could get for our house. And then we started looking at real estate down in Florida and said, we could sell this house and get something down in Florida. And that would be amazing. And so my flooded bathroom turned into, let's sell the house and move to Florida. Okay. Which is really funny because in the middle, it's tax season. I'm sure most of you know, and it's insanely busy and the semester's going on and I've got, so much on my plate. And I'm just like, okay, no, we're going to do this, because if we don't do this now, when are we going to do this? Right. The market is super hot right now, and we may just sell our house and end up going in the motorhome and going down to Florida, and we'll see what happens. But sometimes you have to sit there and go, what do I want my life to look like? And Jeff and I have been dreaming for a long time about going to Florida. We were actually down in Florida looking at real estate right before we found out we were pregnant with Eric. Okay. So this is something we've been looking at, we've been looking at Zillow, and we've been looking at realtor.com, and we've been talking to real estate agents, and, and we finally say, we're going to do this because that's what we want our life to look like. Okay. So when you ask these questions, okay, I don't want you to put limits on yourself. Don't say, oh, that's not possible. That's not possible. That's not going to happen. Okay. Like I said, Jeff and I have been dreaming about this for a long time. Okay. And so it might not happen tomorrow, but it's gotta be in your playbook. It's gotta be out there. That's why people have vision boards, right? That's why people have, 5-year plans and 10-year plans, because if you do not allow yourself to even consider the possibility, then there is no way that is ever going to happen. So question number 1, what do you want your life to look like? Okay. So once you've got that, and you're sitting there going, oh my God, there's all the things and all this stuff and all I've got to do. Okay. So question number 2, what do you need to remove from your life to make that happen? So I want you to look at everything that you wrote down. What do you want in your life? Okay. Because I think a lot of times when we do these exercises, we talk a lot about adding, right? And I know for a lot of you, there is no bandwidth to add anything to what you're doing, right? There's no more bandwidth. It is all gone. And I know, trust me, I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I run. And then, hopefully I land in bed around 9:30. Okay. Which is later than I want to. It's actually funny. So I was thinking about my resting heart rate. Okay. And my resting heart rate has been slowly ticking up. And I realize it's because I never, I haven't had rest, where I'm actually like kind of sitting down, reading a book, doing something that is recharging in the last like week. And so I said, okay, all right, I've got to take some time to do a little bit of recharge, to let my body just calm down a little bit. Right. And I'm sure a lot of you, when I talk to you or we look at your schedules, they're packed, right? You're packed from the time you wake up until the time you go to sleep. So I want you to think about what needs to go. And I'm going to give you a couple of suggestions on some things that are probably going to need to go. And we're going to talk about these later in the month. Your perfectionism needs to go, right? That my house has to be perfect. The dishes have to be done the second that they're dirty. Or if I don't do that, I am going to make myself feel terrible. That needs to go. That needs to go. Okay. The self-shaming, the perfectionism, when you are so uncomfortable with yourself and what's going on in your life that you will not allow yourself to relax. Okay. And I'll tell you, I have a little bit of that going on right now. So I've gained like 5 pounds and it pushed me over a benchmark that I do not like to cross. And I think a lot of us, do you have that? Do you have that benchmark where you're like, okay, well, I can gain a couple pounds, but as long as I don't go over this weight, I'm okay. Yeah. Well, I crossed over that weight and I've like not been happy with myself. But here's the thing, right? And this is what I realized. And I've had to like release it and let it go. The more stressed I get about it, the more cortisol I have in my system, the less likely it is those pounds are going to go away. And so one of the things I need to release is I need to release being so hard on myself. Do you have that problem too? I hope it's not just me. Let me know that it's not just me. I need to stop being my own worst critic. Right? Because I know I sit there and say there aren't enough hours in the day. I can't get it all done. Instead of saying, okay, this is the time I have today. And so let me look at my schedule and see what I can get done. And so by removing the down talk, the pressure that I'm putting on myself, a lot of other things are going to be easier. Working more does not necessarily solve the problem. In fact, most times it doesn't. Getting traction, okay, in the time that you have to work on things, that's what's going to make a difference. And so as you look at that list of what you want in your life, I want you to think about what you need to remove in order to make that happen. Because very often it's not adding more, but it's taking away. It's taking away the things that aren't serving you well. It's taking away the words that are not serving you well. A couple weeks ago, I kind of gave the folks in Empower Bookkeeper Network, the ladies in there, a little bit of a hard time because I don't like some of the self name calling that sometimes happens. Like in our house, and I think I've said this before on the podcast or maybe on one of the lives. I don't like people calling themselves stupid. I don't like people calling themselves dumb. I don't like people calling themselves an idiot. I don't like people calling themselves a failure. Because, we all fail at things. We all fail at things. Okay. Trust me. But hi, been there, done that. Okay. Lots of me as, small biz mama, hundreds and hundreds of students in bookkeeper training school. I think we're over 700, maybe 750 at this point, students in bookkeeper training school. But, we've launched other things that weren't the right thing. I was not willing to put myself out there. I was not willing to put myself behind my product. And we've had things fail, and we've retuned, and we've had to figure out where to go. But when I launched bookkeeper training school, I said, I know that this is needed. I know that this is something that's going to help moms. I was super, super passionate about, working with moms and helping them do this. I know that there are businesses that need them. And so, every day I have to say to myself, we are helping these people. We are getting ourselves out there. I think a lot of you think that this is like a natural thing for me. It's not at all. But so we've experienced failure. Okay. But that doesn't make me a failure, right? We have failed at things, but that doesn't make me a failure. There have been times where maybe you did something that, that you think is stupid. That doesn't make you stupid, right? But those identities that you've created for yourself, those probably need to go too, because they're not serving you well. Okay. And if you won't do it for you, do it for your children. Because when you walk around the house and you say, oh, mommy's not good at math, mommy's stupid, mommy's a failure, we don't have any money. Think about the things that the identities that you're creating in your children. Oh, if mommy's not good at math, then I'm probably not good at math. Well, if mommy's stupid, then I'm probably stupid too. Oh, we don't have any money. We're broke. Oh, we're broke people. Just think about more is caught than taught with kids. And so what are you putting out there for your kids to catch? Yeah, words are important. Words matter. Okay. And those words that you're saying to yourself, they matter. Okay. So I would love for you to spend some time with this and see how you can reframe what you want in your life, what you're doing in your life, the words that you're using in your life. Right. And it can be as simple as, okay, and we're doing this in bookkeeper training school. I got this from Mel Robbins in a training I did with her. She said, every time you go into the bathroom and you see a mirror, high five yourself in the mirror. I know you're going to have fingerprints. It's fine. Okay. High five yourself, because it's really hard to criticize yourself when you high five yourself in the mirror. And so it's funny. So I've been doing that. People in bookkeeper training school are doing that. And it's really helped. It has really, really helped. You are not your past. You are not your future. You are right now. And all we can do right now is be the best version of us that we can be. And you know what? I'll tell you, there were times yesterday that I screwed this up. There were times yesterday in my interactions with Jeff or my interactions with Eric or just my interactions with myself that I'm like, yeah, that wasn't, no. But luckily, we have the option to behave differently the next time. And so if I go in and I'm frustrated with Eric, and I yell at Eric, I will immediately apologize. I will cool myself down and say, okay, how do I want to respond the next time? Because that's growth, right? That's change. And so don't identify, right? Don't cover yourself in a blanket of being a failure or being stupid or being whatever your thing is, because that does not define who you are. It's a thing that happened. And so I'd love to know what you want your life to look like and what you are going to cast aside this spring. That's one of the nice things about, spring cleaning. I kind of have this thought, on the first warm day, you open up all the windows. I don't know. I live somewhere cold right now. So this is what we do. The first warm day, you open up all the windows and you let out all the bad air and you let in the fresh air. And that's what I want you to be doing this month, is I want you to be thinking about what is not serving me well and what do I need to bring in. If this episode was helpful for you, can you please take a screenshot, okay, of the episode as you're listening to it, or if you're listening to it on your computer, take a picture, and just share it on social, okay, and tag me, okay. We'll put all of our social stuff in the description, but tag me, because I think that this is something that, as women, we're very, very hard on ourselves. And women need to hear this message. So if you could help get that out for me, that would be super, super helpful. Thank you so much. I know that you guys are sharing this episode and you're talking about it with your friends, because we see it in the numbers. We see the numbers grow every single month. And that's because of you. So thank you so much for listening, for helping. Y'all are great. You're fantastic. All right. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and let's get a little bit of spring cleaning done this month. All right. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Small Biz Mama with Kristen Ingram. If you'd like to learn how to create more margin in your life, please visit us at smallbizmama.com. That's smallbizmama.com.